Welcome to Six Rings and Counting. I'm your host, Corey Idle, and joining me on a very busy day, and what could possibly be an angry day, my man, Mr. Lou Willard. Lou, how are we feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. I'm feeling great. Liking some moves, not loving other moves. But, this is that time of year where, you're not going to agree with everything the team does. But, we're kind of neglecting the one position that everybody's worried about and the one position you need to win. So this is going to be interesting.
Which leads me into my first topic of the day. And I have got to get something off my chest. This is an earmuff moment. If you have kids in the car, I can't guarantee I'm going to be able to keep this clean, but I'm going to try. So every media pundit out there, sports media pundit at this moment, is saying Aaron Rodgers is absolutely 100% the best fit for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers are crazy if they don't go after him. This guy is a gunslinger. He's a leader. He's going to get you in there. He's going to win games. And he proves that Mike Tomlin wants to win Super Bowls and not go 10 and whatever. Okay. Sure. If you told me that 10 years ago, yeah, I would totally believe you. But what all of these sycophants are forgetting, but don't get it twisted, they don't love Aaron Rodgers. They don't think he's going to win Pittsburgh a Super Bowl. They want to hire him on their channels when he retires. And after his little tantrum last year on Pat McAfee's show, everybody's walking on eggshells around little bitty Aaron Rodgers and his fragile fucking ego. There we go. I did my first one. I told you it was an earmuff moment. So what I'm going to do is go back and remind everybody real quick about the gunslinger you're about to hire, okay? And by the way, if you compare his stats last year to the games Russell Wilson played, and then you average out the 6 games Russ didn't play, they're the same stats.
They're the exact same stats.
They're the same stats. So don't give me this, he gives you a different, You know where the difference is? Russ ran. Russ could run. And the way our offensive line has fallen apart over the last few years, we need somebody that can get out of the pocket. We don't need RoboCop back there standing in like 40-year-old Dan Marino. We're good. So just to give you an idea of what we're talking about, Aaron Rodgers really started to show his ass in around 2016 when his less talented brother, Jordan, went on The Bachelorette. And it came out that Aaron Rodgers was basically estranged from his family. He cut off all contact from his family, did not want to talk to them. My guess is they probably told him he wasn't that special in the family. Him and his brother were equals. He didn't like that. Then Aaron, the beginning of the end with the Packers, decided in 2021 that it was going to be a good idea to lie and say he was immunized against COVID-19. This isn't a COVID rant. This has nothing to do with that. This has to do with leadership. You are lying to your teammates. Period. And I will just throw this out there. You're lying to your teammates who averaged a higher mortality rate than some of your other teammates when it came to COVID. So not only are you lying to them, you're literally taking their life in your hands.
Yeah, and a lot of us, including myself, know people who passed away due to COVID.
Yep, 100%.
So it's a serious topic.
So in November that same year, he comes out, he admits that he was unvaccinated, and then goes off on an absolute rant about how he's the victim, quoting, "So before my final nail gets put in my cancel culture casket, I think I'd like to set the record straight on so many of the blatant lies." Shut up, dude. You lied. Be a man, admit it, and move on. Then he's fined and he loses a health-related sponsor. The NFL fines him $14,000 because he attended a Halloween event while unvaccinated. No big deal. Then in 2022, he was floated around as the vice presidential roommate for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and then went on another unvaccinated and conspiracy theory rant. Then in 2024, Jimmy Kimmel threatened legal action against Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers got into a pissing match with Jimmy, saying that Jimmy Kimmel was on the flight logs for Jeffrey Epstein flights because, that's the go-to now. If you don't like somebody, they're a pedophile.
Yeah, yeah.
Then he has to respond in 2024, March of last year, to whether or not he questioned whether or not the Sandy Hook tragedy took place. He obviously came out and said he did not think that, and da-da-da-da-da. But here's the simple fact. That actually had to be a statement from you. You can make up anything you want about this guy as a reporter, and it's not that crazy because he's proven he is that crazy. So he has to come out, and all of this is to illustrate that this man is a distraction. And when you compare his numbers to the numbers of Russell Wilson last year, who I would argue had less talent in the receiver position than Aaron Rodgers had, with Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, bringing in his other boy, Alan Lazard.
Oh, yeah.
What are we talking about here? Give me Russ. When I already got two dudes who are all over TikTok right now and Instagram as the Crash Out brothers in DK Metcalf and George Pickens, because they are known to while out on the field. Do not give me Aaron Rodgers to lead that team.
You have to get somebody stable in there. I mean, I don't want Aaron Rodgers. If everything goes like they're saying, that's who's coming, but they already can't agree on a contract. No. Dude, you're 41 or 42. How much money you think you're going to get? And you already arguing over a contract.
And this is what I'm hearing.
You need to just take a team-friendly deal. If you really think you can take this roster and win, he needs to come in, take a team-friendly deal so they can go out and pick up. They still, and there's other topics like we could do shorts on, but they need other players. You still need a defensive tackle.
Yep.
In my opinion, you still need a corner. Yes, they got Slade, but he's 34. You still need a corner. Don't eat up all the money because you're done. You got your money. And I don't begrudge a man his money. But if you're saying you want to come here because you feel like they can win a Super Bowl, you are the one player that can afford to take $20 million instead of 35. And that you'll never get that $15 million back. Don't get me wrong. I'm not done. I math well. But at the end of the day, my biggest concern with him is that he's selfish.
Yes.
He's selfish. And I know people said that about Russ, but all you saw was they laughed at Russ because when he was inactive, he still dressed in his uniform and was still trying to be a part of the team and still helping out and still helping Justin Fields. He was not a distraction. Oh, he's going to be a distraction because his wife is Sierra. So what, man? What you want him to do? Marry somebody ugly?
Yeah.
So you can't marry her because she's famous too.
I'll tell you this. I was definitely one of those guys that thought Russ maybe was more worried about the Russell Wilson brand coming into last season than he was winning football games. However,
that's because of the shit he pulled in Denver.
Exactly. I stand corrected. I totally will admit when I'm wrong. I'll do the same if Aaron Rodgers comes in on a team-friendly deal and wins a Super Bowl. I will happily eat shit. Here's the thing, though. We all know I'm not going to. Where I will eat it is with Russ because he came in and he did what was asked of him. It's not his fault, the play calls. It's just not.
Yeah.
Some of those play calls weren't great. Arthur Smith did not want Russ in there. He didn't feel he could run the full playbook with Russ. Fine. But I guarantee you, if you couldn't run it with Russ, you damn sure ain't running it with Aaron Rodgers.
But see,
he's 42 years old.
But here's the thing, though. With Russ went with what was called. You get Aaron, he running what he want to run. Yep. So if you sign him, know that. Yep. So now look, let me just digress. If they sign him, I don't like him, but clearly I hope he does well. I hope he can get along with these two receivers because if you can't, you talk about Bell, Brown, and Ben again. where you just got turmoil because you got two people crying and one person trying to calm everybody down, that's what you're going to have. And they didn't win a Super Bowl either. With all of that talent, they didn't win a Super Bowl. They didn't get the one. So he has the ability. This is where I see him over Russ, is he will go ahead and change a play and put you into a smart play. But when does he want to?
Well, that's it. What happens if he gets booed? What happens if Arthur Smith tells him he ran the wrong play?
This is Pittsburgh when he gets booed.
Yep, exactly.
Because you're going to get booed. They booed Ben. Yep. He's the first ballot Hall of Famer.
And
you're going to get booed.
I'm not one of these guys that says you listen to the fans. Overwhelmingly, the fans are coming out and saying no to Aaron. They do not want him.
No,
period.
They don't want him.
And if I'm Aaron, this is the one thing that really got me going on this morning was watching some of the different NFL news and hearing, well, you know, Aaron needs to redefine his legacy and Pittsburgh's where he can do that. Okay, I agree. If you can get through that ego in your own head and you can see the forest through the trees and you realize, yes, I need to redefine who I am before I leave this league, I'm going to Pittsburgh. What I'm not doing is haggling over a contract and making people think the tough decision is between Pittsburgh and the New York fuckboy Giants. Are you out of your mind?
This it's just and the fact this is another
game
thing
he's always played.
This is the same thing this is another reason that leads me to believe that he's coming to Pittsburgh, because the fans do not want him, and his ego is such that he goes, I'll go there, we'll win a title, and I'll shut him up and prove him wrong. Well, look, if you bring in a Super Bowl, prove me wrong. I'll come right on this show, and I'll do a solo show and tell you about just how wrong I was.
Mm-hmm. Same.
I have no problem with that. I've been wrong about a couple of things. I thought we should have bought James Daniels back, but as I said yesterday on the video, we just couldn't afford him. And I love the young man, so I'm glad he got paid, but we couldn't give him $24 million because he wasn't going to start. I mean, have you seen our starting line? That line is going to be good next year. Yeah. Pittsburgh has a good line. They have two outstanding. They have two number one wide receivers. They have a top 10 tight end. Only thing we need is another running back. We can talk Kenneth Gainwell. Maybe we'll do that in a short. Maybe I'll do one, you do the other, whatever. But because those are different shows. But you got to get somebody that's stable back there. I see Russ as stable. He won't take the chance. Aaron Rodgers, another advantage. He will take the chances. He will, because he believes in his arm like nobody else in this league right now, other than maybe Baker Mayfield, who will throw the ball in, and my boy James. But I'm telling you, I would look to bring in Russ, and I would look to see if even Jameis Winston wants to be a backup. And there's my two quarterbacks. But I am drafting one, but he can be my third all year long. And he can just sit and watch. Because Russ only got the 1 year in him. Jameis is just going to be a backup unless he has to start. And if he has to start, he's going to be dynamic for about 3 games. Yeah. And then he's going to throw you 3 touchdowns. He's going to throw them 1, but he's going to throw them the ball 2 more times. So he's going to be 3-3. You know, so that's what you get with Jay. And you're going to get some great interviews. Great interviews.
Oh,
great media.
I'm starting Justin every time it snows. Or Jameis.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. I'm starting Jameis every time it snows because he's just going to have the rest of the team hyped. It's going to be a go time, and you can rest Russ's old ass bones.
but I'm telling you, I honestly see Aaron Rodgers wanting to come here just to prove people wrong, because he knows the fan base does not want him. The fan base actually wants Russ back, and they want to draft a guy. Remember I said they would get Milroe? I no longer believe that, because you don't have Fields. So why bring in Milroe? It doesn't make sense. Whether you get Russ or Rodgers, it's 2 totally different quarterbacks. Jackson Dart is more of a Russell Wilson type. He has a cannon, though. Kid has a cannon. I would like to see them I'm not even the only thing that bothered me about Dylan Gabriel is he's small. I mean, he is
Oh
small.
yeah.
Like he's way small.
He's
Like
like
dude, like
shorter than Kyler
5'9".
Murray's small. Yeah.
Yeah, he's that's just too small. But there's other guys out there. But I like this Jackson Dart kid. The more I've seen out of him, I'm thinking, he got a shot. Then, I know I'm kind of getting off the topic. I'm blowing
No.
other shows that we can get into. But have you heard the trade rumors for Anthony Richardson?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he does need a change of scenery. But I said when they drafted him, the kid's played 11 games.
Yep.
And you're going to stick him in the league at quarterback? He's not going to play tight end. You can take a kid that played 11 games and let him go run the ball. Because trust me, I ran it. Not in the league. Wasn't good enough. But I ran it at a pretty high level in college.
Mm-hmm.
And you can turn around and give a kid the ball. He can run. He can run.
Oh, yeah.
You can't even – it's hard to even play 11 games and play receiver because you got to understand the defenses in the route tree.
Mm-hmm.
And you haven't seen them all. These defenses are switching up. But I'm like Anthony Richardson, okay, if you want to trade for him, great. But you better be trading for him to put him behind Russell Wilson.
Yes.
And let him learn.
And
even
don't
if this
screw
this
up
year,
like you did with Justin Fields.
And this year and next. But no, you tell him straight out, you're coming in here.
Yep.
You're not playing. There's no special packages because you already got a banged up shoulder once.
Yep.
No special packages. He gets hurt, you play. He doesn't get hurt, you hold that clipboard and or the little Microsoft deals they got now, and you keep learning. Yep. And you keep learning. That's the only way I would possibly even consider bringing him in. There's no other way. No other way. Because he just doesn't have the experience. And the Colts have, quite frankly, they've run out of patience with him, i.e. they signed Daniel Jones.
Yep. And
who is a better but he's a 100%. Better quarterback than Anthony Richardson.
100%. You're in trouble as a starting quarterback when they sign a free agent and immediately say it's a wide open competition.
Because it's not a wide open competition.
No. Pack your bags. Your ass is out.
You're on the trading block. You're on the trading block. Yep. So there's guys out there that I think they can get, but just if you're going to go that route, again, I know I keep saying it. I don't want Rodgers. And if your rant is over, if not, keep going because I'm with you.
I'll chime in every now and again, but yeah, for the most part, the general rant is over. I think everybody gets where I'm going. I didn't bring up him getting his coach fired or crying to get Devontae Adams in or any of that because one, he's not going to get Mike Tomlin fired. Mike Tomlin's only got 2 years left. Aaron Rodgers is only going to be there for 1. But to lose to your bigger point and why Russ makes more sense, regardless of who you sign, whether it's Russ, whether it's Aaron Rodgers, you have to draft a quarterback. You can get Will Howard from Ohio State in the 3rd or 4th round, but you got to draft somebody. Now the question becomes, who's going to teach that young man to take over in 2026?
And it's not Aaron Rodgers.
I'd rather have Daniel Jones do that than friggin' Aaron Rodgers.
Jordan Love said Aaron Rodgers didn't teach him a damn thing. Wouldn't teach him. And you know what? Brett Favre didn't teach Aaron Rodgers. So that, to me, some people go, well, he didn't teach me. See, the way I was brought up, oh, no, dude didn't teach me, so I'm not going to do you like that, man. Come here. Sit under the learning tree and let me tell you. Because you're going to, whether I like it or not, one or two things are going to happen. You're eventually going to take my job and make a lot of money here while I'm already making a lot. Or I'm going to teach you, you're going to show your ass in the preseason and in garbage time, and then somebody else is going to come and get you, and you're going to make a whole lot of money wherever you go. But you will not fail because I didn't help you. You will succeed or fail on your own merit. If you succeed, it's not going to be because of me. You're not going to hear me preaching that. I'm just going to tell you you're not going to fail because I won't help you. You're in this room with me. I'm going to help you. And if you watch the Hard Knocks, that's why I say don't be afraid to bring Jameis in as a backup and draft a kid. Because he sat in that room with Dorian Thompson-Robinson by themselves and went over everything with that kid. And people, what can Winston do? He throw interceptions. Maybe because he's not. Maybe the kids see the field better than him. He's teaching him what he knows. He's trying. Aaron Rodgers isn't going to do that. So, especially if you're going to bring Wilson back, trade for Anthony Richardson if you want to. Make it clear you are not even in contention to start.
Mm-hmm.
And I would still sign another quarterback. That way he don't have to play if Wilson gets hurt. Just get somebody. Let this kid sit and learn.
No matter what.
He's perfect for Arthur Smith's system, like I felt Justin Fields was.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a better runner than Justin Fields. We can argue that, but it's pretty debatable. But we can drop the Fields conversation because that's done and gone.
Well, right.
Glad he got paid. Glad he got paid, and he's going to start. But
it's a cruel world, but yes, I'm happy for him.
Do something dynamic. I mean,
go
Russ and then go big with a trade. You trade for Anthony Richardson. We know he's not going to play. That's okay.
Let me ask you a question, because we are talking about the draft. We're talking about some other guys, Jackson Dart, even trading for Anthony Richardson. Tennessee has openly said they are wide open for business with that number 1 pick. What would you give up? How much would you give up?
For what? Cam Ward?
Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, whoever you like the best.
I'm not crazy about either one of them, to be honest with you. I mean, there's something everybody sees in Cam Ward that I just don't. But maybe it's the couple games. I only watched him play like a handful, not even a handful of times, like 3 times, and I just didn't see it. And I'm like, okay, yeah, they're putting up points, but dude throwing the ball 45 times. I mean, you should have. And then you're playing Tulsa or whoever the hell. But they see something, and I hope he has a great career. If there's 32 good quarterbacks in the league is great.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I hope for. And I hope whoever takes him, which they're saying it's not going to be the Titans. They're saying they're going to edge out of Georgia. If they do that, then you're telling me you're sticking with Will Levis? I mean, they got to be sticking with Mason Rudolph at that point in time then, don't they? Because Mason Rudolph is better than Will Levis. But, I mean, to trade up for a number 1 when you just gave up your number 2, you can't go that far down the board.
Right. You'd have to be – and you'd leverage almost all of your future draft picks because, like you said, you can't keep – in this year's draft, you can't go that far down. No.
And he cannot miss.
And these guys have a huge question mark on all of them. That's why there is debate about who's going number 1.
And I know I got this right last year. I was on that island when the Atlanta Falcons took Michael Penix at the pick 8.
Yes, you were.
I'm the only one I heard say that's a good pick. Yep. Oh, look, he set 15 games. All of a sudden he's playing. All of a sudden he's the guy. Just that quick. They should have took a defensive guy. Should they have now?
That was me.
Hi. And now look, but look. I'm only right to the point where he's starting now, early. Let's see what he does. He could be a bust.
Yeah. You're also right to the point
I don't see bust in him though.
Now all of the people that work the NFL on some other channels are coming out and saying, "Well, the Falcons should have started him earlier. They should have known Kurt wasn't going to." Shut up. There was one guy in the entire world that liked this. His name was Lou Willard. He works here at 6 Rings and Counting.
My phone.
Shut up.
My buddies was texting me, man, what you talking about? You crazy. I said, I just see football players. Y'all do all the coaching. I'm just looking at the player. They should have took the kid.
So with what you see and knowing how you watch Ohio State, and I know we can only take the homer out of us so far, but let's face facts. Pittsburgh has traditionally gone after a lot of Ohio State or Big Ten players. Do you see a potential situation where in that 3rd round, 4th round, a Will Howard is available for us and we take him to develop?
Absolutely. I mean, see, these questions are easier to ask if we know Russ is starting.
Sure.
Because Will Howard is a poor man's Russell Wilson right now. Okay. Who was Russell Wilson coming out of Wisconsin? Everybody, the Seahawks took who? All of
Mm-hmm.
a sudden he's starting. All of a sudden he's borderline Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Will Howard, I was wrong on. I told you. I told my wife every Saturday. I don't think the kid good enough to take us there with all this talent.
Yep.
All of a sudden, the tournament started. The games got big. And he said, oh, here we go.
Yep.
Here we go. Balled out. I'll eat crow. Just put a little salt and pepper on it. Salt and pepper season anything. Salt and pepper season anything. And I was wrong. And he's smart. And if you're smart and you play steady, you can play quarterback. You don't have to. Everybody's not going to be, Dan Marino. People know, some listeners don't even remember who that is, but you're not going to be some of these Peyton Mannings, Tom Brady's. Everybody can't be that. Mahomes.
Wait a second. This is a Pittsburgh Steelers show. You're telling me there are people in and around the area of Pittsburgh that don't know the name Dan Marino from Pitt?
Well, that is true.
You better take your ass somewhere else. I'll tell you that.
I said our younger people, or younger listeners.
You youngins need to take your ass to West Virginia and them coal mines. We don't need you around here.
Y'all gonna be the canary in the coal mine.
Yes,
see if you come back out.
bet you come out putting some respect on Dan's name.
But yeah, everybody can't be that. You just need a quarterback, and he needs time to develop. So I could actually see that. And depending on what they do, I can still see them taking. I would love to see them if they trade up in the first round. It needs to be to get Ashton Gente.
Okay.
I know they just signed Ken Gainwell, but he's not an every down back. Neither is Jalen Warren. So right now we're shuffling running backs. We're shuffling running backs. Even though I think Warren, barring he stays healthy, you can say that about anybody, can be just like Chase Brown. He broke out when he had the chance. And he can do the same thing. And Gainwell's a hell of a third down back who can receive the ball.
Oh, 100%.
And he can spell you. But you can't pass on a Gente if you're trading up. But they can even still sneak and take a Buka.
Well, even
because you may lose Pickens.
Oh, you might, especially if you got Aaron Rodgers.
Ask
Garrett Wilson how close that came.
Yeah.
So if you, I like where you're going with this too, because if you do sign one of these quarterbacks, being Russ or Aaron, and then you're not sold on really a quarterback in the first round, but you do have the position to trade up, you have to think with this offensive line, especially, we got to play more run balance games where you need a guy like an Austin Gente and a Jalen Warren back there where you're just, 38 carries a game?
Yeah.
Maybe 27 passes?
And I think that's one of the biggest reasons they let Najee walk. It's not because he wasn't getting 1,000 yards. You can't get 1,000 yards in NFL with the amount of carries that he's getting, which he did. You aren't even an NFL running back. Hell, you're playing 17 games now.
Right.
So they let him walk because he's too slow.
Mm-hmm.
Gainwell's fast. Jalen Warren is fast. They looking for more speed back there. They're looking for more explosive plays. That's why they let him walk. It's not because he has a bad character, not because he didn't do his job. It's just not the job they were looking to do. They were looking to have done. But so he'll go give the Chargers exactly what they want. And I wish the young man the best until they play Pittsburgh. And he'll do fine. But right now we gotta solidify a defensive line. I still think the number one draft pick now, as we got that receiver. So I can't see it being a Buka as much as I would love it to be. I can't see it being him. I can see it being the kid out of Michigan. Big kid. I always forget their names.
Mason
I need
Graham.
to write them down. Yeah, I need to write them down before I start the show. But I can see it being
Michigan.
Graham.
Nobody cares.
I'll care when they call his name and he put this black and yellow on. I'll start caring real quick. I don't give a damn where he was school.
As soon as he's black and yellow and has that contract signed, you're all right.
Yeah, you all right with me, Playboy.
That's
you
it.
All right with me. But they need to get a kid like that there in the middle.
Yeah.
And he can learn under Cam for this last year or last 2 years. Cam at most has 2. If some miracle happened and Pittsburgh won the Super Bowl this year, Cam's gone. Why would he come back?
And the loss of
There's no-
Ogunjobi to the Bills with his recent signing.
They were releasing him anyway.
Right. But I mean, it's
Yeah,
just you have to go that route. You have to go defensive tackle.
You have to go defensive tackle. And hopefully Graham is still on the board. I mean, there's a couple more out there, but he is a dog. And I've seen him play a lot, obviously, with him being in Michigan and me living in Columbus. So you see those games all the time. And he is a dog. And I'm sure there's going to be some out of the SEC that you can get that face those crazy run games in the physical football game. They're going to be these big boys, 6'2", 6'4", about 300, and they just hard to move. They just take up space. And that's what Pittsburgh needs, another Casey Hampton. That's what Pittsburgh needs. And those don't come along.
I was going to say, we can't tell people not everybody's going to be Dan Marino and then be like, find Casey Hampton in this draft. Come on, man.
Those don't come along every day. Those don't come along every day either.
All right, look, we're going to end the show here in a minute. I did want to end it on a high note, though. I know we came in really negative about what's probably going to be the A-aron signing here in the next couple of days. Lou or I will jump on and do a short, keep everybody apprised of the situation. But I know this isn't Lou's style necessarily. I like this. It's a me thing. I like dancing on my enemies' graves. So we're going to take a quick moment. We're going to laugh at the fact that the Bengals have waited so long to sign Jamar Chase to a long contract extension that they is basically priced out of Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And now the talk is Joe Burrow within the next 2 years will be asking for a trade out of there because they have shown no commitment to winning. It is only just enough interest to get you in the seats. And if you followed the Bengals for any amount of time, that's what the Brown family does with that ownership.
Yeah.
Period.
It's going to be bad. And we'll end on another one. The Browns traded for Kenny Pickett.
And then, all right, we'll round out the division. The Ravens looking for a receiver. Kick the can with a 1-year contract for DeAndre Hopkins. Still giving Lamar no help whatsoever in the receiving.
He's an old man, so we signed the old man to guard him. It's the geriatric bowl on the outside, baby. Out there.
It's all chess moves.
Oh, my God. Bless
all right, man. For the Queen's Gambit, Lou Willard, I'm Corey Idle. We will see you next time on Six Rings and Counting.